Hi guys, it's Sunbury Housewives. Welcome back to another video. If you're new to our channel, thank you so much for stopping by. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see future videos. So today I am working on the cutest tumbler. It is a Ladybug tumbler with some really fun elements that I hadn't ever tried before and I wanted to do it. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm starting out with this 20-ounce straight skinny tumbler, and ignore the things on the background because I originally was going to have a totally different idea for this tumbler and switched my mind after I got it all painted. So I went ahead and sanded and prepped my tumbler and get it ready for painting. So I'm using Waverly chalk paint in white. My paint was getting low, so I mixed it with a little bit of water, and I'm painting up the tumbler all white. So because I added water in it, it didn't dry immediately, so I was able to actually use this as my adhesive to add the glitter. So once I get it all painted, it was still wet. I went ahead and added diamonds from Glitter Heart Co. all over my tumbler and set this off to dry. Since it's paint, it didn't take long to dry at all. And I was able to then add 2 coats of epoxy to this almost within about an hour because I want to make sure it was good and dry. So once that was done, after 2 coats of epoxy, I went ahead and I had this buffalo print gingham red and white vinyl. Honestly, don't know where I got it. I've had it for quite a while. And I cut out, using my silhouette, the dimensions that I needed to go from the bottom up. Because I'm just doing the bottom portion of this tumbler. So that's what I did. So I line it up. And I'm doing some trimming here because I don't want any of this excess backing getting in my way, because I want to get this as straight as possible. And I did achieve that. I mean, it's a little off on one part, but the top of the vinyl was straight. I didn't have to do any trimming. I had to do just a little bit of trimming at the bottom. So I'll go ahead and line that up, take just a little bit, and then I take the backing off and smooth it down to make sure to get any air bubbles out as much as possible. And for some reason, this backing did not want to come off the greatest, so I think I just pull it off. There I go. Yeah, I just pull it off and pull it around as smoothly as possible. So once I get this all the way on, I do cut off any excess if I ever get there. Of course, I'm out of frame. One of these days, guys, I will get this figured out. So, okay, I'm smoothing it all down. And actually, I don't think I did have to cut off too much on the seam because I had cut out the dimensions exactly that I needed. So I'm just going through with my craft knife and poking any holes where there's any air bubbles so that it won't be a problem later. So here I just cut off just like a little sliver where it was off just a smidge, and that was it. But the top right part there was fine. So then I had designed this border for above it, and this is where I ran into some problems for some reason. I don't know. So I had why I wanted to get fancy with this is beyond me, but I did. And then I really didn't like it, so you'll see here what I end up doing. So I'm just going through, and I'm going very slowly to make sure that this is lined up as possible. And of course, it doesn't. It goes off. It goes off as usual. So I just fix that. So I lay down that, and then I take my craft knife and am going to cut off the excess. Run my nail across to make sure that I know where the seam is that I need to cut off. And once I get all of that cut off, I'll just remove that excess. But I thought I could fix it. And so like I laid down the extra vinyl. I don't know what I was thinking I was doing. So like here I'm cutting off and then I'm like, oh, I'm just going to lay this extra vinyl down. But I don't know why I thought that was a good idea, because it looked really stupid when I did that. So then, as I'm continuing to fuss with this, I thought, okay, this is all right now. Got it all laid down, cut off any excess that I didn't need. And the more I kept looking at this, I really didn't like, I'm continuing to pop bubbles. I really just did not like that big dark band in the middle. Oh, and I did cut out a circle for the bottom, so I placed that on the bottom. And then the more I kept looking at it, I didn't like that big dark band. So I did take some painter's tape and wrap and do, a band around it, because I want to cut off that, just a little bit of that black vinyl between the red and white check and the black band, because I wanted a little bit of that glitter showing through. So that's what I'm doing here, is cutting that off. So I get all that removed, and I just like it so much better, cleaning up any places that I feel that it needs to be cleaned up. And then I go ahead and, apparently still cleaning up. I just like this so much better with just that little bit of sliver of the glitter showing through. So then I had printed out, oh my gosh, how much of this cleaning up am I going to do? So I had print out the cutest gnomes that had, I printed out on water slide paper. And some of the gnomes had some of that gingham print in it. So I thought this was perfect. And I wanted the gnomes to wrap all the way around. So I thought, I'm going to be smart here and just do a wrap around. I love working with water slide, but today it was not my friend. And so we're going to see me on the struggle bus here working with it. So I get it lined up, and apparently I didn't have them lined up perfectly on the water slide like I thought I did. So here's attempt one, get it on there, thought, oh, this is great. I have it all lined up, going around smoothly. And then I noticed that one of the gnomes was not lining up to where I wanted it to. So I'm trying to get it, and all of a sudden my water slide started crinkling on me. So I thought, well, if I go ahead and just cut the one gnome off and place them where I want it to be, that would work. First mistake. So here I'm smoothing them all out, and then I noticed, like the one gnome was up way too high. So, there, I'm noticing he's up too high, so I decided to cut him off. And then when I place them back down, the spacing isn't even enough for me. And that bothered me to no end. And usually when I print out my water slides, unless it's doing a whole full page water slide, I always print out 2 of these. So I got mad and I ripped it off. And I just placed the backing on it to keep the tumbler wet, and I placed the other water slide in. So I thought I would get smart and try this again and try it doing it on reverse. Since there was no writing, it was no big deal. That I would flip it upside down and do it face down, and that was not any better. Immediately, it wrinkled. It started peeling and cracking, and I was mad again. And so I thought, well, I'll just pull it up. That was the second mistake because I immediately started ripping it. So I was trying to salvage it, and I just kept making it worse. So I get mad, and I tried to turn it around, and no, that did not work. So I ended up getting madder, and rip it off, and had to print a whole new one. But this time, when I did that, I just decided to not even do the whole wraparound because I already knew that I wanted to do a special thing to this tumbler. I just decided not to go even all the way around. So when I printed them this time, I lumped all the gnomes together, and I'm just going to do the front side. This goes so much smoother. So I don't know what I'm trying to do here. I think I'm trying to prop up my tumbler so I can actually see, and so you guys can see. So I grab one of my lovely sanding blocks that has epoxy all over it because I'm a slob when it comes to epoxying because I'm a messy crafter. So again, making sure that there we go. Look how cute that is. So back into the water, my water slide goes, and making sure that gets all nice and wet so it slides off the backing super easily. And when you're working with water slides, you want to make sure that you do seal this with like a clear spray at least 3-4 times and let them dry between each coat. So once that's ready and it slides off the backing super easy, you know it's ready to go onto your tumbler. So I'm keeping the tumbler nice and wet so that it doesn't just stick to the tumbler and I'm not able to move it around. So now it's time to add my water slide to the tumbler. It's sliding around on the paper nice and good, and I place it exactly where I want it here in a second. And you can see it's sliding off super easily. That's what you want. So I slide as much off as I can and grab the top of it and then pull the backing out. And it just lays down nicely. And then I'm able to take, well, apparently I pick it up because I can't ever leave anything alone. So I just line it up as much but it slides around because the tumbler's super wet, and I just smooth it out. And then I take my silicone tool and smooth it out and get all the water out from underneath it, any air that's trapped underneath it. Because if there's anything that's trapped underneath it and you epoxy over it, you're going to see it. So you want to take your time and be very gentle with this because, as I already know, this rips super easy. So I just work getting all of that out, and I'm happy. I didn't have any more issues with this. So I'm going to let this dry for several hours, and then I'm going to put 2 coats of epoxy on this before we move to the most exciting step. Now, once that's done, I have these little teeny tiny like Ladybug Jewels, or I don't even know what they're called. So I'm using liquid fusion, and that ladybug went flying. And I'm adhering the ladybugs to the tumbler. I'm not putting a ton of them on, but I'm affixing them to it. So you got to do this once the epoxy is cured and done. You don't have to epoxy over these. I mean, you can if you want, but you don't have to. The liquid fusion is permanent. I just thought this was going to add the perfect touch to this tumbler. So I'm just adding the glue I start with adding them to the ladybugs, and then to the ladybug to the tumbler. Just a little bit on the front and then around to the back. And then I let these dry for several hours before even handling the tumbler. There, I'm just making sure that the ladybugs weren't moving. They were pretty adhered. The bottle said after 5 minutes, they were pretty stuck on. I mean, you don't want to bang it around or anything, but you don't want to bang around a epoxy tumbler anyway. So I really had no rhyme or reason of where I was placing them. I just wanted them kind of all over the top. Then I found it easier just to put my hand up in the tumbler and work on them. So then I started sticking the glues directly to it and just placing the ladybugs down. Oop, that went flying. And I'm so happy how this turned out. It's the cutest little thing ever. So I'm continuing to add the ladybugs just wherever I felt one needed to be. Like I said, no rhyme or reason. I got these ladybugs off of Amazon, and they came in, I mean, you can see it off to the left there. They came in a pack with ladybugs and with bees. So I don't know, I'll have to do something with the bees at some point. But I'd say after a couple hours, these were solidly on the tumbler. And the glue dries completely clear. So any glue that might have seeped out definitely were clear. Anyway, so I just continue to add where I feel one needs to be, and then I let it sit to cure. And here it is, all done. I am so happy. I'm absolutely in love with this tumbler. This tumbler will be available on the website for purchase if you want it. Thank you so much for watching. Look how cute that is. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I appreciate everybody for supporting this channel. Y'all mean so much to me. And don't forget about the sale that's still going on. All that information will be in the description box below. Bye, guys.